Everyone, welcome to our July 7th board meeting. Appreciate each one being here this morning. As always, we would like for you to take a second and put your phone on silent. It would be very much appreciated. As always, Dwayne's going to say a prayer, and but there's several things. We definitely want to remember the people in Texas that disaster that they had and going on now. So we'll remember them. So. But also, Will say the pledge, so if you would, everyone please stand.
Y'all pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, we bow before you this morning. God, first of all, I just want to lift up the members of the families of that tragic flood in Texas. God, the ones that lost their lives, the ones that are still missing. God, just reach down and comfort these people as only I know you can. God, just be with them through this week and the weeks ahead, God, as they deal with this tragedy. Be with the rescue workers, keep them safe. God, I ask that you be with our country, with our leaders, national, state, local leaders, God, as they make decisions that affect us. I ask you to be with us here in this meeting this morning, God, that every decision made will be pleasing to you and in accordance with your will. Just forgive us where we fail you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Will?
Yes, sir. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, Will.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Lott.
Yes, Mr. President, you should have before you the June the 16th board minutes. I would ask if there are no changes for the board to please approve said minutes.
Are there any changes? If not, do I have a motion for approval? Motion Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. And before we get to concerned citizens, Greg, I would like to drop down and we have some people here as far as talking about the ARPA money update. If you would, come and give us an update on that.
Yes, sir. All right. Per this board's request at our last meeting, I reached out to all of the sub-recipients of Madison County's ARPA funds. Most of them are here today. There is one minor exception. The Madison County Wastewater Authority's attorney was out and unable to attend, so they will be at the meeting on the 21st. Which leaves with us today, I believe first up is probably the city of Ridgeland. I see them here, and they were awarded, it appears to be roughly $4 million, $3.5 million for Purple Creek Basin and Colony Park Boulevard is what we have, and I believe Mr. Hart and Mayor McGee are here if y'all would like to hear from them.
Okay, y'all please come up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all for letting us be here today.
Yes, sir.
Quick update for you. Purple Creek Drainage Improvement Projects. This is a really neat project the way it started out. It began as a simple idea of cleaning out a detention pond at Freedom Ridge Park, and we were able to secure the ARPA sub-award from Madison County. We were then able to match it with the MICWA funds for a total of, that ends up being $3.83 million. We were also able to match it with $1 million from the Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund, which gets us, another $1 million into the project. And ultimately, what we have is we're going to clean a little dirt out of a pond all the way to, we're going to have an ecotourism park addition to Freedom Ridge Park, complete with new wildlife habitat, native landscape species, interpretive signage, and walking trails. So really appreciate your help on this one. Target completion date for that is May 2nd of next year. Current phase, Hemp Hill Construction Company is actively digging the ponds, and they've set the box culverts between the two ponds. They completed ditch restoration along Purple Creek Channel. Pedestrian bridges will be installed once the ponds are completed, and the contractor feels that he's ahead of this schedule and should be able to get to the planting phase as early as this fall or winter. Colony Park Boulevard water and sewer improvements. The county offered us $2 million for this project. We were able to get going right away on this one. We do not have any other matching funds other than there's a quasi-match with a $2 million state appropriation that was mildly attached to the idea of the county giving $2 million in ARPA funds. But this is to install a sewer interceptor that'll extend to the north side of Colony Park Boulevard and tie south into the Carr Farms Road. In addition to opening that whole Prado Vista area, Colony Park Boulevard area up for economic development, it also helps us eliminate at least one lift station, if not two. The water line extension will help establish the proper fire flows along Colony Park Boulevard for development, as well as improve water quality by making water line loop connections. We expect this to be complete in the first quarter of '26. We've already bid the project. It was awarded to Hemp Hill Construction, an amount of $2.496 million. As I mentioned, we will shore up the difference in the $2 million in ARPA with the state appropriation while we utilize those funds for additional economic development incentives in that area. Wheatley Street Road Construction Project actually has a $487,000 ARPA infusion into it, along with a $3 million reimbursement grant that you guys provided us. The target completion date's November 26th. This project will completely reconstruct Wheatley Street, South Wheatley Street. We're going to go as far as we possibly can. Our mission is to go from Lake Harbor Drive all the way to County Line Road as far as we can. Right now, the engineering estimate says that we probably should have an alternate phase that goes from Town Center to County Line Road, just in the event that we want to make sure we're able to bid the project and get all this money spent as fast as possible. But it will include a little bit of a road diet. The traffic numbers do not support a 3-lane road. It only needs to be a 2-lane road in most of the sections. There's certain sections that will remain 3-lane road, like beyond Town Center and there at the intersection. But it allows us to put in a 6-foot sidewalk so that we've got a much better pedestrian movement through that area. And there's a lot of people that walk all up and down this area, so we'd be glad to accommodate that. The current phase we're in is we have completed the design work. We are working on obtaining right of entry forms because we're having to construct this project in such a tight little confined space. We're working with the neighbors and property owners. We anticipate seeking approval to advertise the bids from the mayor and board of aldermen within a month from now. And it's likely we'll probably wait till January 5th to issue the notice to proceed, because we're getting into holiday time, and you guys know what North Park Mall means to Ridgeland and Madison County, so we probably try to stay out of the holiday season with a mission to complete that project by November of '26. There will be a good portion of it that's going to be repairing sewer lines and drainage lines that are contributing to the failures, so we expect those ARPA funds to be spent first in this project. County street and ditch improvements, this is not ARPA, but I thought I'd share with you how much we appreciate you guys working with us on Old Agency Road ditch restoration, Old Agency Road paving and striping, Post Road paving and striping, McClellan Drive paving and striping, and Center Street paving and striping, along with Livingston Road striping and signage. You guys offered us $1,030,000 as a reimbursement grant. We expect to be done by the end of this calendar year. The current phase we're in is Post Road and McClellan Drive have been paved. We've executed at our last board meeting a striping contract, and we will issue a notice to proceed for those two streets, along with the striping of Livingston Road this week. The flashing warning signs have already been put on at the intersection of Greens Crossing, where you've got several curves and blind intersections, so we've got those signs replaced already. Base repairs are complete on Center Street. The curb work has already begun. The mayor and board executed a contract with Hemp Hill Construction for the Old Agency Road ditch restoration and road protection project on July 1st. So that project's gonna take off really fast with a construction window of July 14th. So August 14th, we'll be getting news out about the road closure coming up to be able to get that part, and then paving and striping will follow.
Okay.
Now, we have copies of this report that any of you could have if you want them. If you don't want more paperwork, that's fine.
Yeah, I would like to have a copy, Mayor.
We
just
really
to,
appreciate
share.
your being helping Ridgeland to get these projects done. It's so important, and it's just y'all have been very kind to us, and the Board of Aldermen extends our thanks to you.
Thank you, Mayor and Alan. Appreciate the update. very, very much in detail, and what I did hear, Alan, you say along the way, that the ARPA money will be spent before, December 2026.
Should, that's the plan, it's certainly on track to do that.
Okay, because I think that's the deadline, actually,
It is.
you know, to
We
be
intend to
spent.
meet the deadline for sure.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to, you know, just ask today for everyone to come
Anytime
up and
that y'all
just give
want
us
us
the
to come up and
detail.
give you an update on how things are going on, maybe 2 or 3 months, that's fine. We certainly want to be as open as possible on what we're doing.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mayor, while the new work going on in the park, is it still open?
Oh, yeah.
It is?
Freedom Ridge is still open. This is the area where the detention pond is.
Mm-hmm.
And the detention pond got silted in and had to be cleaned out. And of course, this made us able to do this other part of the project. Has nothing to do with, also the next phase of Freedom Ridge, which we'll be starting early next year.
Okay, great, all right.
Mayor, Allen, I'll probably put this on our website,
You can, sure.
just for information purposes as well, so, thank
Thank
y'all.
y'all so much.
Thank you.
Greg, I know I think I saw Pete as well, I met him in the back.
That would be next, I believe, would be,
Okay.
from the city of Madison, and then I can address our project.
Okay. Pete, do you mind coming up and just giving us a good update?
First of all, thank you very much for allowing us to give you an update, as well as thank you very much for the funds that you shared and gave us to the city of Madison. So we have details, and I believe Casey has been given the details to share with everybody and to share with the clerk, and we can provide additional details. The good news is most of our projects are complete. So you gave us money for 4 different projects, and what I'd like to do is kind of update you not only in the status of the funds that you gave us, but in the larger picture of how we made best use of those to contribute to perhaps larger efforts. And again, you know, it's made possible by the county as well as what we have done, and we appreciate that very much. First of all, Hearn Creek. We got some money for Hearn Creek. Hearn Creek was one of 2 creeks that Madison faced problems with regard to flooding, flash flooding causing erosion of the banks. Brashear, which we are ongoing with, is a large significant issue, and we're having to not only mitigate the flash flooding but repair the banks. The Hearn Creek project was equally significant, but not quite as large, and that's where we came to you, and you were able to help us. Thank you again. The Hearn Creek project is now completed, but for a punch list of items. And what we did there was, with the funds that you gave us, we were able to not only mitigate and do some repair work, but actually restore to a better condition what was there. This was on the northwest corner of the subdivision of North Bay, as the creek collects, goes through North Bay and into the reservoir. So right now that's completed to include a low water paved crossing where there had been a footbridge that had been washed out over the years. So we appreciate that very much. The next project that you gave us money for was our Liberty Park dugouts and concession stands. Those roofs had deteriorated over the years. They were quite old and just over time had deteriorated. We went out for a repair and replacement. When the bids came in, considerably more so than we had anticipated, the city was faced with only being able to repair those versus at this time replace them. So along with the county funds, we were able to then go back to our original plan and make the complete replacement. Those replacements have been accomplished at this time. So we thank you. In addition to that effort, we've also restrung a lot of the safety nets and those kind of things. So once again, trying to demonstrate that we made use of the funds not only to do what you gave us the money for, but in a broader effort, it helped us to accomplish something much more than what you directly funded, and we appreciate that. The next one was considerably more straightforward. It was Kingsbridge Road, which is a subdivision in Madison, and it had fallen short of our funding list for last year, and because of the money you gave us, we were able to get that one accomplished. It is now repaved. The neighborhood looks beautiful, and in several instances, residents have reached out for their appreciation of getting that done. So thank you. The last project that we got some funds for was our Cotton Hill well pump. Early last summer, the well pump failed, and we were going to have to replace that well pump. But because of the funds that you gave us, in addition to replacing it, we were actually able to upgrade the pump, upgrade the control infrastructure, and now we're in a much better position to continue providing water through that pump to the city of Madison and its residents. So with that, hopefully you'll accept this as our update. Like the city of Ridgeland, we're prepared to come and update you at any time. We appreciate what you're doing for us. We hope to continue that relationship. And again, the details of which I'm leaving here, I believe Casey has them and will share with the clerk's office.
Okay. Pete, appreciate you giving the update, and also along the way, you know, the ARPA money has to be spent by December 2026 unless there's some changes within the law. So appreciate the update, very much detail. Appreciate it very
Yes,
much.
sir.
So. Any questions for Pete? Statements?
And again, our money is, December of '26 is not going to be a problem with us because most of these projects are completed.
Thank you, sir. And also, we'd like to put, you know, that on the website as well, if we can get it kind of narrowed down a little.
Okay.
You know, to be able to put it on a website as well.
We'll get that to you.
Okay, thank you, Pete.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank y'all.
And I'd like to just say thank you to the board for unanimously allowing Madison to spend that money on 4 significant quality of life projects for my district. Thank you, Pete.
Very much so. Greg?
All right, those are the external parties with the exception of MACWA that received ARPA funds. We obviously spent some of that money on internal projects as well. The first of which is the first phase of broadband. That is the one in the northeast portion of the county that is slated to be done by the end of September. There's a very good chance it is done before then, but by the end of September is when the contract says that's the first phase. About 3,700 what they call passings or premises that will now have access to broadband internet that did not. That's a little north of $5 million on the allocation from the county. If you will recall, Comcast put in the overwhelming majority of the funds, and the state's BEAD office also put in about 4.8. So that's a great project that is wrapping up. That's part of the county's remaining broadband funds. The next project we undertook with ARPA money was the CDBG project. If you will notice on your agenda a little farther down, today is a request that this board award that project. You also heard the 2 previous presenters discuss how they were taking money and rolling it into other money to make the number go up. That is essentially what we are doing with this CDBG project. It's going to be about $200,000 of county money that we will then eventually roll into $3 million from the feds, from Section 219 money. So we're going to take $200,000 and turn it into, by the time it's all said and done, about $4 million, which is both the project is necessary in the West Madison Utility District, and the financial sense of it is beyond reproach, in my opinion. Taking $200,000, turning it into $4 million seems like a pretty good idea. The next project from the county's portion of the ARPA funds was Bachelor Creek. That project is finished, along with the work on East Sims Street here in Canton. Those are a couple of flood control projects which we completed last year. We've also got some money dedicated to Bozeman 1. That's about $5 million. Bozeman 1 is under construction now. We are going to spend that as soon as we need it for Bozeman, which is as soon as they can build it. and that they are building it as quickly as they can. So there's another 5 million gone there. We had about $1.5 million in a list of roads, which are being paved as essentially part of our normal paving process. So it's a different fund, but it's the same process. And finally, the Sulphur Springs softball field was the remainder of the county's ARPA money. That project is winding down as well. I anticipate that one being done by the end of the month. The dirt for the infield was delivered last week. I've seen it out there. They've put the fence posts up. We've got to get some foul poles and bases in, and that'll pretty much do it on that one. So that is everything in the county received $20.6 million in ARPA funds, and that's where it all went to various projects, most of which are on schedule and expected to be done well within the statutory timeline.
Okay, thanks for the update. And the only other agency we have is MACWA,
Yes, sir.
and they are scheduled to be here on the 21st?
Yes, sir, at the next meeting.
Okay, good deal.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Greg. We'd like to come back to our scheduled matter of business, and we're very pleased and fortunate to have Mr. Brad White with us this morning to give us some updates, what's going on in Madison County, and how MDOT is helping Madison County with some infrastructure. So, Mr.
Well,
White, appreciate you being here.
Thank you,
this morning
Mr.
to give us
Steen, for
update.
having me. Mr. Steen asked that I come and give you an update primarily on the I-55 project that we have going on here between Madison and Gluckstadt with the new interchange. We expect to have all of the pre-construction phase of that project completed by the end of this calendar year. If everything goes according to plan, we should be able, provided that the construction dollars was there for funding it, to build it, would be able to start advertising that project this November, maybe in January, and have it underway. This past session, as you know, going back to 2022, I guess it was the first session that I was there as director, and working with the legislative leadership with regard to our capacity construction program, which is the program designed to build out the system, turn 2 lanes into 4 lanes or 3 into 6, build bypasses and stuff like that. The conversation was had with the legislature that if they were going to give us one-time money, that it was the most sensible thing to do was to put the one-time money on these one-time expenses and be able to get the big construction projects out of the way. So they started that in 2022, and up until the session before this past one, we've received roughly about $1 billion from the legislature that's helped put these big projects around the state that were being brought to fruition under construction. The next 2 that we have on our list is this I-55 project and a Highway 25 project over in Rankin County. As I said, the I-55 project should be ready to go this November to January. Highway 25 be somewhere in the same neighborhood. Unfortunately, this last session, we fell, and I want to be clear, that MDOT came out of the session very well. They gave us a good, clean budget. As you know, we're a special fund agency. They didn't encumber any of our dollars. They gave us the flexibility to move the money around to be able to play the shell game that we have to play to maximize the federal money that's available to us. They allowed us to continue moving salaries to try to stop the bleeding of employees and build back a team that would allow us to do the work internally at a savings of the taxpayer. There was a component that even adjusted the fuel tax, which should generate more money for state aid roads around the state, as well as for the Department of Transportation over the next 3 years. That'll be phased in, which will help us go a long way in maintaining the system that we've got. Where we had the breakdown this time was we fell prey to the disagreement between the House and the Senate with regard to a projects bill. I don't want to get into their politics. I'll let them speak to that more than anything. But during the regular session, we had legislation together that had funding for these projects included. And so we thought that we were sitting good with that. At the end of the session, when the disagreement happened over what a special project would be, I think the House wanted to do what they've done in previous sessions, which had a lot of member projects that helped localities around the state. I think the Senate felt like instead of spending that money, they wanted to spend it on the state project, which would have been MDOT, IHL, other state facilities like that. And at the end of the day, no agreement could be reached, so no legislation of that kind was drafted. I feel confident that this coming session, we're gonna have a lot of interest in trying to do that, primarily because the projects will be ready to go by then. And I feel good about our opportunities to work with the leadership to get the funding for the two next projects that we have. Outside of I-55, just pulling quick numbers, and I do want to say Commissioner Willie Simmons does a very good job representing the Central District, which Madison County is a part of. It's a pleasure to be able to work with him, and I can tell you that he has you have his ear, and that he's interested in trying to help you accomplish all the objectives that you have here as a county. But over the last 2 years, in maintenance alone, MDOT has invested about $15 million into the Madison County. We have another $20 million that's currently under contract throughout Madison County and work. And as of next year, we have another $35 million in new programmed projects that would be smaller in nature compared to the interstate project, but that will be around the county. So I do think that the folks of Madison County are going to see a lot of orange barrels around, which means progress. Unfortunately, the best that we can hope for as a Department of Transportation is be a inconvenience to people, because everything that we do is right in the middle of where people are trying to drive and work and live. I know Mr. Steen asked me to mention the 4 bridges on Highway 51. We do have some funds that were made available specifically for bridge repairs around the state. And so we've got a lot of bridge projects going on, and these 4 bridges qualified for that funding. We have 2 that are closed now. The other 2 remain open, but there's 2 others that we plan to work on at one point. We're working with landowners now that before those 2 would ever be closed down, we want to have the work on the 2 that are currently closed completed, and we want to have an agreement worked out where the people that are impacted right there, the landowners, have access to their property during the time of the construction. So that's in the process of being worked out, and as soon as we complete all of those conversations and have something concrete to give you, I'll be sure that we report that back to y'all so you can know what we're doing with that. But that in a nutshell is it. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, or if I failed to cover something that you were wanting to know.
Brad, one thing that hopefully you're prepared to answer is Highway 51 from Canton to the city of Madison, as far as MDOT doing some work on that road as well.
As far as, I know we've got some program projects. I don't know the details of them. I'd have to
Okay.
get that and provide it. But I know that that's part of the $35 million that we're talking about that'll be invested next year around the county.
Yeah, sound like they doing some, digging out and
I saw
getting
firsthand
ready.
this morning, all the digging out. One of the reasons I was slightly tardy, was MDOT workers providing services to Madison County citizens, by fixing some issues with
Yeah. The last 2 years, we have awarded more contracts than in agency history. The last 2 years, we've topped $1.2 billion in new construction around the state. And with that's gonna come a level of growing pains, I guess, if you will. So around Mississippi, you're gonna have a lot of those situations that may be a little bit of an inconvenience, but hopefully we're gonna have contracts drafted in a way that gives contractors incentives to try to finish ahead of time, that would penalize any that fall behind without justifiable reasons. So I'm real pleased that the partners that we have to work with in the private sector to deliver the product to the taxpayers, they're taking it very seriously as well and trying to do that in a way that is as convenient as possible.
All right. Any questions?
Yeah, Brad, I just want to thank you and MDOT for all the work that you all do all around Madison County. But my concern is the bridges north 51. Is there any way that you all can work some way or other to be able to speed that up? Because you got people shut down that basically don't know another way around. The local folks, they are angry because they got to take a back road. You get the people that coming from homes on back, they run by the intersection of 17, saying, hey, I know they ain't got the whole road down. And then when they get on the way road, they see that the whole road is shut. So you got two of them under construction now. When you move to the next, 3, 4, 5, whatever, is there any way you could do all of them at once if they close together? Or build a alternate route, where a car can go around and keep going? And I know you talk about more money, but these are questions that my constituents are bringing to me that I have nothing to do with.
Well,
So I'm asking the man that has something to do with it.
Well, ideally, it would be nice if the funds were available, that every time we have to do a bridge repair, a bridge replacement that requires for a bridge to be closed down, if we had the ability to build some type of a alternate bridge there. We just had that situation over Pearl River on the Simpson-Copiah County line where a piece of logging equipment came through and did some severe damage to that river bridge, and the whole bridge had to be shut down for a few months for repair. It just wasn't financially feasible in some of those situations to come in and try to build an alternative bridge or a temporary bridge. One, by the time we would get it done, you'd have the work completed on the one that was out. And two, the money is just simply not there. Now, what we are doing that you spoke about is we are trying to work something different with our contracts, where we try to incentivize the contractor to finish early. He has a financial incentive to try to speed the project along, try to do things in a way that is not causing any unnecessary delays in the project. We're trying to work into contracts things that would allow for if there are some avoidable delays that are the fault of the contractor, that they be penalized financially for that. So we're trying to do our best in delivering contracts in a way that would make the people doing the work want to do it as quickly as possible, as safely and efficiently as possible, and be able to do that. Now, in regard to those bridges, as I mentioned before, we are working closely with the landowners around to make sure that to the best that we can, they don't lose access in that area. That's the reason that we've not moved forward on the other two bridges that I was mentioning, is because we're still having those conversations now, and we want to do as least interruption to the people and cause as least amount of problem as we can, particularly to those that have to access the land by virtue of their property and things like that. At the end of the day, just trying to manage expectations, there is absolutely no way for us to do our work without causing some type of interruption. We are going to try to do things when we work on the interstate, for example. If something has to be closed down, we try to do that as much as we can at night or when there's not peak traffic. But having those types of delays and inconveniences to the public, unfortunately, is part of it. And another reason for that is we went so long as a state without the appropriate funds to where all we were doing was trying to catch up on maintenance work. That now that funding has been made available, we've started you've got a whole list of projects that have to be done, and particularly where bridges are concerned, those are not the type of projects that you can wait on. I mean, you've got to go ahead and fix them before they get to a point that you're putting the traveling public in danger. And so, that's another reason why you see so much of that right now, is we have a lot of bridges that we're closing and working on because the funding's been made available to it. They're in need of the repairs, and it's the responsible thing to do. But during that time that they're under construction, there's going to be some, inconveniences. But that's a long way around the barn, and me telling you, it is equally important to us to try to show the people that we're doing the best we can with what we've got. We're trying to deliver the product in a way that causes as least interruption as possible. But I would remind them that there's just no real ideal way to do that type of work.
Ms. White, it's kind of like the Board of Supervisors work. It seems like every road we work on is a major thoroughfare road, and it's going to be some inconveniences. But once it's finished, hey, it's real good. It works very well.
Yeah.
And also, I want to personally thank you for, and you mentioned a little bit about the interstate money, this past section, that did not happen. I know we worked together very, very hard to try to make that happen this session, along with the business leaders in Madison County.
That's right.
And it was almost a daily thing, weekly thing, that
Right.
there was some meetings and telephone calls to try to get the legislature to put some money there, but it just didn't, it just didn't happen.
Right, and I want to be clear that I don't want anybody to read that as a lack of support of the project on the part of the legislative leadership or its
Right.
members. I mean, the fact of the matter is, the project weren't ready to be built. Had they given us the money this session, the money would be sitting in the bank as of July 1 until it was time to let the project at the end of the year or the first part of next year. They know that they've got another bite at the apple without delaying the project. And so it really didn't concern me. I mean, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, but it didn't bother me that we finished the session the way we did, because they did us right with a clean budget. They did us right with more recurring revenue. We're more equipped to deliver the product that we're tasked with delivering to the taxpayer than we were this time last year. And come January, every conversation I've had, from the speaker to the lieutenant governor and everyone else, these projects are going to be a priority in identifying funding to build, just like the projects we've had in the past. And I would remind you that this same thing happened with the I-55 project in DeSoto County. The same thing happened with Highway 7 project in Fayette County, that, they did some partial funding for those, but we didn't get the complete funding for it until it was the year that the
Right.
project would come to fruition and we'd be able to let. So I don't want anybody to misinterpret the conversation about not receiving the money as the legislature didn't support the projects. That's just not the case. It was just there were no monies made available for any special project
Right.
around the state, whether you were MDOT or whether you were Joe Blow County or city. And I think next session that we'll have a much different conversation.
Yeah, again, there's work continuing with the state leaders as of today, and it is still their number one project.
Yes, sir, it
They
is.
have mentioned that to me personally, but along with some business leaders as well, that it is still their number one project. And we definitely appreciate that, and hopefully come January, in this section, they will fund, the widening of the interstate, which is approximately 150 million.
Around 150 million was the last estimate I saw.
Right, so, other statements for Mr. White?
I just gotta say, Brad, I do not envy your position. I think you're doing an amazing job,
Thank you.
with heading up MDOT for our state and county. We definitely are blessed to, have you up there and doing good for, the thing that's closest to me, which is Madison County. I just wanted to clarify, the very first thing you opened it was that, the pre-construction was gonna be done by end of year. When you say pre-construction, does that mean shovel-ready? So that
It's bringing
gonna
it to
be
shovel,
funded
it's
as soon
bringing
as
it to the
gets funded?
point that you could start the construction of it. So
Okay.
it's like the moving of utilities, the purchasing of the right-of-way, any surveys that had to be done, the design of the road, all the things that are done that people don't get to see, that has to take place in order then to award a contract to build it.
All right.
And
that is
so
amazing.
we anticipate all of that to be done by this November, December.
Yeah.
And we would be then in a position that should funding be made available, that we could move forward with awarding a contract to build it.
Good, good. I was falsely under the impression that y'all couldn't start on the project till it got funded. So this is amazing news for me. And,
Well, we can't start building it until it's
Well,
that funding
but
there.
shovel-ready is,
Yeah, the commission already had assigned money for all the pre-construction phases.
yeah, I
So
guess.
all that we've been seeking from the legislature is the lump sum to build it. All the money to get us to construction, Commissioner Simmons and the other commissioners had already assigned, and we're moving forward.
amazing. That's the best news I've heard all day, and I hope it is funded and we get those things going in soon. So, thank you.
Me too.
Brad, give us a little clip note version of what you mean by pre-construction and the dollar amount that's being spent before a shovel hits the ground, like environmentals and survey.
Like what the process is?
Yeah, what you've already done.
Well, anytime you have one of these big capacity projects, we have federal requirements that we have to meet. So you go in and you start with surveying the property. You determine what right-of-way has to be purchased in order to build out the project. You determine what utilities have to be moved, you know, from the rights-of-way in order to build the project. You have the design of the project that's put underway that basically develops the plans and shows what's being built. Some of these processes and some projects could take up to 8 years to get through all the pre-construction phase. In comparison to the construction of the project, it's not a lot of money. It is a lot of money because you're probably looking at $10, $15 million, something like that, and I can get you the exact amount that we've spent on the pre-construction of it. So in comparison to the construction dollars, it's a very relatively small amount that gets us there, but it's a time-consuming deal. And then Federal Highway requires us to be able to deliver ultimately, and this is what we'll have at the end of the year, a certificate that shows the right-of-way is clear, utilities been moved, the property's been bought, the design's complete, all of this is done. And if we could show them at that point that we could either cash flow the project or fund it outright, then they would give us the green light to go on and build it. But that's basically the pre-construction stuff, is all the behind-the-scenes details that goes in to getting it to a point that you can hire a contractor to go out and start implementing the plans and building the actual project.
And Brad, I know Supervisor Brandon mentioned it just a second ago with his understanding. You know, there's so much, I'm gonna use the word false information or misunderstanding in people's minds why it doesn't happen today. And you just mentioned that it can be 4 to 8 years, and the county's in the same way. You know, even with Bozeman, we have to go through the same process that you just mentioned.
Well, and I want to remind you that for about 10 to 12 years, the commission had put projects like this under a moratorium because we didn't have the funds to run the capacity program and the maintenance. What we're graded on by the Federal Highway Administration is the maintenance of our system. And so if we start falling behind in that, then you put at risk all the federal money, which is more than 54% of our budget. So there was about a little better than a decade that the commission basically said, we're gonna have to cancel the capacity project unless we receive federal grants or things that allow us to advance individual projects. And we're gonna put all that money over here into the maintenance fund to help rehabilitate and maintain the existing investment the taxpayers have. Well, when Federal Highway was last reauthorized, Senator Wicker happened to be one of the senior Republicans on the committee that did the authorization, and he was able to get an extra $1 billion in that 5-year authorization, which gave us about $200 million extra a year. And so the commission at that time said, now we can restart the capacity program. Well, the problem we ran into then, that had the program not been interrupted, we wouldn't have had, is then you had to go back and take all these plans that we were talking about that was done during the pre-construction phase before of a lot of projects, and then update them. You had things that had changed drastically over the last 10 years, including the standards by which we had to build the projects. So having the funds come back at a time about 4 years ago that we could restart everything, I think it's remarkable that the team has been able to get as many projects to the table as they have.
Yeah. Brad, appreciate the update. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank all of you.
Appreciate what y'all are doing in Madison County
Thank you.
as well.
Thank you.
All right.
Concerned citizens.
Now, let's go ahead and get the lobbyists.
Okay.
We're gonna follow with the lobbyists right behind, and not sure who's gonna be the spokesperson, but if you would, just come up and give us a good update. I know Mr. White gave us a little update, but anyway.
Thank you, Supervisor Steen. My name's Camp Murphy with Capital Resources. I'm joined by Parks McNabb and Matthew Major. I'm gonna give you a brief session overview and let Parks talk about the ADA situation and Matthew with a broadband update, if that's all right with y'all.
Yes, sir.
So this session, these two sessions, the regular session and the special session that we just came out of, were marked by a couple of events and a couple of pieces of legislation that were impactful for local governments. I'll touch on those very briefly. Most of the issues that impact y'all the most were wrapped up in the tax bill, as it has come to be called. In that, you got a new Tier 5 for retirement, which impacts county and state retirees, hired after March 1 of 2026. And then you had two features that had some fiscal impact within the budget bill. One is your grocery tax going from 7 to 5, which is going to have a slight impact on counties. Ought to be just an accounting change, as the state did take care of the turnback. And secondly, the fuel tax, which Director White just mentioned, that did go a long way. You have 3 cents for 3 years, so 9 cents total, and then an inflationary feature beyond that that will help us keep our maintenance and capacity projects going. The unfortunate part of that bill that did a lot for and to local governments was that, in our view, it was the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back between the chambers and created some dissension there, and ultimately led us to a place where we were unable to get a budget in a regular session, which is not common. It was to the point where in the regular session when we came back to do the budget, I believe the governor intended to add some more policy items to the call, but felt that the relationship between the chambers was too tenuous to jeopardize total budget structure. So for that reason, largely as Director White mentioned, the projects bill seemed to be at the crux of why we couldn't get along. He detailed that very well, so I won't rehash that for you. So at the end of the day, we ended up with no projects for local governments. Lest you think we're just sitting around waiting on next January, I do want you to be aware that Supervisor Stain has already been in meetings with the Speaker and in constant communication with the Lieutenant Governor so that we are ready to go next session. Concludes my prepared remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions after my colleagues update you.
Any questions for Camp?
Yeah. On the broadband of Madison County, phase 2, that's what we seeking money for now. Was there any movement with Sally Doherty to get that 1 point whatever billion that was set down for the infrastructure bill for broadband and other things? So was that just put on hold also with the state not really giving out a budget?
I'm going to let Mr. Major comment on that here in the next few minutes.
All right, Mr. Major.
How we doing? Yeah,
All
to
right.
answer your question, I know we've talked about this in the past. So you had two different pots of money
Yeah.
from the federal side for broadband. When you're talking about phase 2, you're probably talking about BEAD. I know you heard during the ARPA update the current status of what was going on with the Comcast project that's through what was called the Capital Projects Fund that was a part of ARPA. The BEAD funding was separate through NTIA on the federal side that flowed through our state broadband office. And so as we discussed, I know we talked back during the session, when the new administration took over, NTIA did a federal review of the program, the rules, the requirements. And so that's actually just concluded. The application window opened last Tuesday at the state broadband office for the ISPs to begin the process of applying for the dollars, and that's open through July the 16th for them to apply. Those applications come in, the office reviews them, they run that up the ladder to the feds, they review the addresses to determine what's served and what's underserved. It is interesting, some of the new requirements, they've streamlined some of the environmental processes, so we anticipate that some of these projects could get in the ground relatively quicker than what they would have been able to do before. So the awards are intended to go out on September the 4th for that application window that's currently open right now. There is somewhat of a challenge process if an ISP believes that this address is actually served and not served, but that shouldn't take longer than a couple of weeks to get through. So like I said, we anticipate the awards for the BEAD dollars to go out September 4th is what is posting the federal guidance and what the broadband office is working towards right now.
Okay. Just to let the general public know, that phase 2 covers just a little part of North Madison County, but it's covered mostly west Madison County and different pockets of areas that don't have that broadband. And I hope when we get this money for phase 2, we'll have most of Madison County covered
Yes, sir. And then under the new rules as they were published by NTIA, previously through capital projects and other, it was very fiber heavy and very focused on fiber. This is a little more technology agnostic in the BEAD process, so you could end up with a lot of folks applying for things like, fixed wireless and other pieces that you wouldn't have had before. So like I said, that application window is currently open. We've been working with the internet service providers and getting them the information that they need to move that application process through to be awarded by September 4th.
Greg, maybe you and Mike need to make sure y'all contact Comcast too. Make sure they are on the ball on getting that application in or how they got it in.
I have had some preliminary conversations with Comcast about phase 2. They reached out for letters of support, which we gave them what we could give them, and they were both aware of and working towards the phase 2 application, but we will reach out and stay on top of them.
And Matthew, I know that y'all work very close with Comcast as well.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they're on top of it. Like I said, it opened last Tuesday under the updated rules from NTIA, and they're working through the process for getting all of the GIS information and everything else that they need in for the application. So like I said, I know they've reached out for some letters of support as well as some other ISPs. So they're, like I said, July 16th that closes, and then they do the review and announce the award September 4th for those dollars.
So we should know something
Or
September 4th.
early August. I mean, I think
Okay.
they probably
Early
know.
August?
Yeah, I think they probably notify the ISPs or the award areas prior, but like at the latest September the 4th
Okay.
is when the awards go out.
Good deal, then.
Thank you.
Appreciate that
Yep.
update. You had someone else that's gonna
Yeah,
give us?
Parks.
Okay.
Morning, Parks McNabb. We were able to help secure you 3 additional ADAs in House Bill 1544 this year. It was the judicial redistricting bill. So that's 3 guaranteed state-funded ADAs. On top of that, they give you additional slots. Currently, you have 2. They gave you 5 additional slots, taking your additional slots to 7. The good news about that, and this is a little bit of long ball, is they could come back immediately next year and fund a couple of those, raising it from 10 to 12 or 13.
Okay, but that funding would go into effect in 27?
27.
27.
The 3 guarantee 27, but the possible additional slots could happen next year in
Okay.
January. Yes, sir. And
Good deal.
as late as this morning at 9 o'clock, I was talking to the Senate Appropriations Chairman about that.
Okay, and.
So there's appetite.
And Greg, just staying on that topic, with ADAs, how much, money-wise does an ADA cost Madison County?
Salary's about 120,000 per.
Correct.
So 3 of them will be
Yes,
about 360.
So, okay, so we're looking around 360 per year then?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, the session wasn't completely lost by any means. That's
There were some
great
wins.
news, actually, even though it may not come in to 2027, but,
And we're working
But that's
for
still
it
good.
to come in next year too on the additional
Right.
slots. So,
okay.
yes, sir.
Appreciate the updates.
You got it.
Any questions for any of them?
Great information.
It is. Appreciate each one coming up and appreciate your work that y'all do for Madison County. Thank y'all.
All right.
Okay, now we're gonna back up a little further to concerned citizens.
All right, one on my list, that would be Natasha Griffin.
Tasha, if you would, please come up and state your name and give your address and a couple of minutes, please.
Good morning. My name is
morning.
Natasha Griffin. I reside at Harvey Crossing, 114 Channing Circle, Canton, Mississippi. And my concern this morning is a sinkhole that has formed in my backyard. And from my understanding, it's coming from an Eastman drain that's owned by the county.
Tim, if you outside, come in.
I'm sorry, I was talking to the director.
All right, come up, and I think there's a question for you concerning the sinkhole. Ms. Griffin?
Cinco, at what, 114 Channing
114 Channing Circle.
Circle,
Right, Harvey Crossing.
Harvey Cross. Do you know anything about that in the past, or have you been out there lately, or what?
I can't remember off the top of my head on this one. We've got 10 that are out for bid right now. I can't remember if this is one of them or not. Have we been out to to look at yours?
I think I talked to you about 2 weeks ago, maybe. And
Okay,
I think you
this-
said you sent someone out to look at it. It's like a pipe or something disconnected. My neighbor.
Excuse me,
that's-
y'all, for a minute. Mr. McMillan,
Yes, sir.
don't leave this second if you'd like to say something.
I'll hang back.
Okay.
I ain't gotta say a whole lot.
All right.
You know, I'll hang a little bit.
Okay.
Sinkholes are way more important than anything I gotta say.
Hey, Tim, I'm sorry. Y'all go ahead. If you will, just get with her and
Okay,
make
yeah.
sure,
We will.
yeah.
Yeah,
Take care.
I thought y'all had already got out and went out and looked at her, but, if you will, go out and look at it. And she said the previous owner, that we had done some work to it, years back. And I know you can't remember, cause it might have been even before you. So if you will, go and look at it and see what we can do, of what there. And maybe can you have that for us next meeting?
Okay. All right.
So if you will, check with him, or you can, if you ain't working, you can come back with our next meeting in July will be when?
21st.
21st at 9 a.m.
And Tim is our county engineer.
Yes.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other concerned citizens? Are there any concerned citizens out in the audience? If not, we will, Mr. McMillan?
Sir,
We appreciate you being here this morning as well.
I was gonna be able to sneak out the back without y'all calling me up here.
Well, this is our representative, one of our representatives from Madison County, and appreciate the work that you've done this past session with us as well, because I know you've been very busy and working with us as well.
Well, I appreciate y'all, number one. I think you guys from, just from my standpoint, on the state side, you guys on the county level, y'all are our tip of the spear. I mean, everything starts here, everything starts with you guys. I appreciate not only the relationships that I have with each one of y'all in here, friendships that go way back. But, everything I think in government starts with relationships. So, that matters. Like I said, you guys, y'all are sitting up here and y'all are forging the way for the county, same with the state, except I've got 121 other people in the legislature that I have to deal with. So, the relationships are important, and that matters. And, it's, getting everybody on the same page sometimes, like I said, I know we talking about our legislative sessions this year can be a challenge. Everybody has their own different viewpoints and own different ideas. But I think if, once we come together and try to work together, we can move not only this county, but this state forward. Because I do believe that the things happening in Madison County right now, we're the leader in the entire state. So if we can all work together from a supervisor standpoint to the city standpoint, to all our state leaders, to all our community, citizens that are sitting right here, if everybody get on the same page, trust me, we could be a battering ram for the entire state. So, but I appreciate you guys, appreciate what y'all do. I appreciate your calls. Sometimes the calls aren't great whenever you are calling me, but I appreciate those phone calls, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. I appreciate them. And hopefully the input that I give back to you guys, it's, it may not always be the best thing, may not always be what you want to hear, but it's the truth. So, that's all I can offer you guys, but I do appreciate y'all, so.
And I'm gonna say something. I know that you and I work very closely together
We
with
have.
the speaker.
Yes.
As well, and one thing that I very much appreciate is that when we call, you either answer the phone or you return your phone call within a short period of time. And that means a lot to an elected official that's trying to get some information to give to their constituents, just for information. So, appreciate your relationship and, working relationship.
Yeah, thank y'all.
And we just move forward together.
I wanted to say one thing before you sat down. I got a press release coming in this morning that Mississippi hit record revenue collections this past year, 7.6 billion.
Yeah.
I know you had a lot to do with cutting the grocery taxes and the income taxes.
Well, like I said, I mean, you look at that, look at headlines like that. I mean, Mississippi in the past, 10, 15, 20, 30 years has changed. I mean, the whole landscape of our state has changed. And I think, you know, a lot of times you go back and look at what, you know, there again, I've only been up there for 2 years. But looking at some of the way we do government, some of the books, some of the things on our books, some of the laws on our books, you know, they're antiquated. It's you know, it's stuff that was 25, 30 years ago. So I think that's the challenge that we're looking for, leadership, you know, at least on the House side and the Senate side, is to try to really dial in and fix some of that antiquation to make things run more smoothly, more efficient to what Mississippi is today. So, yeah, Trey, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's, you know, whenever you're looking up and you're hearing, you know, you'd hear a lot of times Mississippi's bottom of the barrel here, last here, 49th here, 50th here. You're starting to hear a little bit different headlines. So, you know, it is a challenge. Some of the stuff that I think, you know, some of the disagreements between the chambers this session was some of that was, hey, how are we going to go about fixing that? I'm not going to point fingers. I'm not going to totally, you know, knock the senators, because I have great relationships over there on that side of the hall. But, you know, it's a matter of how we're going to shift the state in the direction that we're moving the state. So you got people up there, not only from our county, we have a heck of a delegation on the House side and the Senate side. We got great people up there working. We all work together. We work well together. But you've got a lot of really good people across the state up there that are trying to do right. You know, regardless of what the headlines you read on, you know, heck, some of the news channels or the TV or whatever. There's a lot of good people trying to do a lot of good work up there. So I will say that.
Thank you for what you do.
All right.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
You
Yep,
bet.
thank y'all.
Okay, we're gonna move down next. That's all the concerned citizens. We're gonna move down to public hearing. Do I have a motion to go into a public hearing?
Motion.
Motion Supervisor Griffin, I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, we are now in the public hearing.
All right, the purpose of this public hearing is in relation to the Southwest Madison County Fire Protection District Resolution of Intent this board passed, not the prior meeting, but the one before that. It was published in the Journal for 3 weeks and posted in a few different public places, including the Circuit Court Building, the Southwest Madison County Fire Station, and the Ridgeland Library. The purpose of this public hearing is to ascertain whether or not there were any objections to the resolution, particularly 1,500 objections, which would trigger an election. So with that, Mr. Clerk, are you aware of any objections having been received by your office?
No, sir.
No, sir. So at this point, I believe it would be appropriate for this board to acknowledge that there were no objections and proceed down the path laid out in the resolution of intent.
Okay, do I have a motion to acknowledge there was no objections?
Move.
Move Supervisor Banks, is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Also entertain a meeting to come out of the public hearing. I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, let's go down to consent items. Are there any items that the board member would like to remove?
I'd like to discuss number 5.
Okay, would you like to remove it and discuss it?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other? If not, do I have a motion to approve all the consent items except for item number 5?
Move.
Got a motion from Mr. Banks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Brandon. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item number 5, personnel matters. Mr. Brandon?
I don't want to outright deny this at all, because there are a lot of things on here where I don't want to keep anybody from starting a new job. But I saw, and the only reason it even jumped out to me is because we're working on budgets. I know our Greg worked on his day off on Friday to work on our budget. I just don't think we need to be giving raises this close to our budget. I don't think it's the use of our time. I think all this stuff needs to be all the raises need to be, I don't know, correct terminology here, either tabled or held off on until we adopt our new budget for the next fiscal year. I really don't know how to make a motion to deny certain aspects of a personnel matters, other than to say I make a motion to pass everything in item number 5 with the exception of any raises given held off until our next budget cycle.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Got a motion by Supervisor Brandon. Do I have a second?
I'll second that for further discussion.
Second by Supervisor Baxter. Discussion.
Concerning the raises, there's a lot of great county employees that deserve raises, but one in particular, giving a raise to an employee that sent millions of dollars to a fictitious person is not one of them. So I'm gonna vote no on this particular item for purposes of, I think there's other county employees that deserve the money, who have done a fantastic job serving the community.
I gotta say, I didn't pull this for that reason. To Trey, that is certainly a valid reason. I just pulled it simply because we're very close to our budgets, and I don't see a reason to be doing raises at this time when it's just a few weeks away.
Okay. So your motion is to
Pass
halt.
everything that's not raises in this item.
All right, I think all of them are raises, aren't they?
No, everybody's a new position, or, everything I've seen is new positions or new hires. I don't wanna keep anybody from starting a
Right.
new job.
Okay.
I just don't want to do raises right now.
Okay, got
It's
it.
so close.
All right. Mr. Lott, do you have that motion? Okay.
Well,
Any
I
other
got-
discussion?
I just got one simple question I'd ask Greg. In doing the budget, that means planning for the future, what we're gonna do next year. If raises are anticipated, shouldn't they be budgeted?
Generally, yes, you would want to budget your expenses before they occur, I think is the question here. Is that correct? Am I understanding the question correctly, sir?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly what I'm asking, because, I can't, I can't say, well, I don't want to, institute a raise after the budget. I'd like to know, when I'm budgeting, what my expectations of expenses are for the following year. And it just, that reasoning just didn't make a lot of sense to me. But anyway.
And Milo here, what we can answer it through it. All of them ain't just raises, some of them are promotion. And why would we stop people that getting paid and they getting promoted? So, instead of picking apart that number 5, I'm gonna make a motion, a secondary motion, or amended motion, whatever you wanna call it. Substitute motion to approve 5 as is.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we got a substitute motion to approve, item 5 as is by Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks. For more discussion.
Now, the only reason I even brought it up was just simply because we were so close to our new budget time. Promotions, raises, in the middle of the year, when they are very much, deserved and needed. I'm not saying these aren't deserved and needed. It's just, we are currently doing this, and, I've been a employee for a company for, the last 10 years, and I've been employed, for over 25 years. And typically, all raises, all promotions come through at the new fiscal year budget time, and that's when they happen. So, forgive me for wanting our county to be run more like a business than haphazardly throwing raises about and then having to scramble for money left and right. We budget it and say, these people are getting raises, these say, oh, we're giving such and such a $5,000 raise, we're giving such and such an $8,000 raise, we're giving such and such a $2,000 raise. It makes neither here nor there whether it happens in the middle of the year where you don't have the money, you just make it at the point of when you do your budget. And it's so close, it just seems like extra work on our
Yeah.
on our HR, on our people who do payroll, everything, to do all the math, to do all this, when they could just start fresh day one on the new budget cycle.
Okay, good point. I know, Ms. Kennedy, I see that a lot of them are tax assessors.
I've got
on
a few
this.
on there, yes.
And if you
I'd
would, just come and address, you know.
like to touch on what Paul talked about. Throughout a given year, you know, you lose employees, you add responsibilities to certain positions, you get promotions. And that's what these are. These employees are taking on more responsibility as the county changes. We talked about change today. Needs within my office internally. And furthermore, I have budgeted for these. The money is within the
Right.
tax assessor's budget for this. So we plan properly for it. It's well deserved. These employees work extremely hard and they're taking on more responsibility. And I ask that you approve them.
My apologies, I thought there were only three, but now that I look back up, you do have some raises. So,
Well, there's,
if we want to vote on the other, motion, or I can amend my motion,
Aye.
to say no raise, I don't know.
well,
Whatever. Let's take a vote on,
no, you
Paul's
just
motion.
hold tight. Here's, and the reason I asked you to come up, because you answered the question.
Yeah.
I would say most of these are budgeted, if not all of them.
Definitely.
If not all of them. And again, that's where maybe the misunderstanding is that, why do we give raises now if
These
they're
are
not
not-
budgeted? Very legit question. But most of these are budgeted.
That's correct.
And they're just now, being presented to the board for whatever reason. And so I see no issue with them if they're budgeted, personally. But let's go back and we have a substitute motion on the floor to approve item 5 as is. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a vote on that. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. So item 5 passes, and like I said, a lot of them road department, which is, new hires for the summertime, which was budgeted. So, this makes sense to hire people and move forward. All right, Ms. Griffin, supervisors.
I wanna make a motion to appoint Billy Joe Wells on the Madison County Historical Courthouse Committee.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin, I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Okay.
Business items. Item 66, Catholic Charities request for tax exemption. I think we have a person here that's representing them. Yes, please come up and just state your name and just a couple of minutes on what you'd like the board to know.
Okay, I'm Christina Bach. I'm the interim director of Catholic Charities since April 14th. Thank you so much to the board for having us and to staff for expediting our application this quickly. We are asking for tax exemption for Catholic Charities. We just moved on Ridgeland from Jackson a couple years ago, and we've always resided in Jackson prior to that. We were incorporated in 1963, so I think it was so long ago, we just didn't know the proper procedure, so I apologize for our agency for not following protocol.
That's okay. Mike, have you had a chance to look at this?
Yes.
Everything looks
Yes.
good?
Excuse me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Catholic Charities applied for tax exemption. They qualify as a nonprofit, which I recommend you pass it, but I just want to point out, they are renters and not landowners. So they applied not for property tax exemption, they're applying for a real property tax exemption. They're applying for personal property tax exemption, which you should also approve. So, but these type of applications haven't been coming through as much.
Right.
Because most people want an exemption from their land. But this is personal property, so, but they qualify, so I recommend that you approve it.
Okay. Mr. Kennedy, anything that you need to add on this or would like to say?
I agree
You
with
don't have
everything
to.
Mike just said. I would ask that you specify what tax year this should be applied to.
What year are y'all asking?
We just got assessed last week, and they told us to go ahead and get the application in because it could be applied to the assessment that was just done in July.
For
So that's
20,
what?
for 25?
25.
Is that possible, Norman?
We can apply it to 2025 if the board approves.
Okay. All right, we got a motion on the table, got a second to apply in, year 2025.
Yep. Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed. Thank y'all for coming.
Mr.
Thank you so
President,
much.
Who made the motion and who seconded? Mr. Banks?
I think Mr. Griffith made the motion.
I take it then.
And
Who
I don't,
seconded?
Mr. Banks seconded.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but anyway, it's either way. All right, Mr. Kennedy? Tax assessor?
Good morning. All right, today I'll be presenting and discussing information pertaining to the 2025 tax roll. I'll also discuss the current assessed value captured in Madison County for 2025. As always, the tax rolls are made available online via the county website. And to my left on this wall over here is the hard copy of the tax rolls that we make available for public inspection. As required by law under Mississippi Code Section 273581, I have prepared all necessary documents and filed them timely with the clerk of the board, including required affidavits to be completed with each roll. At this time, Nicole and Randy will pass out a couple of handouts so y'all can follow along. We did add one spreadsheet. This is the smaller of the two that just kind of summarizes all the numbers that will be presented today.
Thank you.
My glasses, but
Okay.
growth.
All right, so one of the charts that you have, if you'll look to the far right, it's a 5-year comparison chart, but really, if you just key in on the 24 and 25 numbers, and then the totals, and then you'll have the percentages in the last column to the right. The tax assessor's office maintains the tax roll for class 1 and 2, real property, and class 3, personal property. For real property, both classes 1 and 2 combined, Madison County currently has $1,494,091,583 in assessed value. This is a $28.8 million increase from the previous year's assessed value. For Class 3 personal property, currently has an assessed value of $343,787,780, which represents an increase of approximately $22.7 million in assessed value from the 24 tax roll. The values from the next two categories are determined from reports provided by the collector's office, which are based on collections over the previous year. Class 4 public utilities assessed values are set by the Department of Revenue each year. They report that to us, and the assessed value is $96,251,426. Class 5, the assessed value from the tax collector's reports for automobiles and mobile homes is $346,662,959. The total true value for the preliminary 2025 tax roll is $16.2 billion, and the total assessed value is $2,280,793,748. The assessed value has increased by approximately $77.2 million since the 2024 tax roll. This reflects a 3.5% rate of growth for the overall assessed value from 2024 to 2025. And that's in the percentage column to the right of that page that you have.
3.5.
I think it's pretty obvious the county continues to see solid growth year after year. The tax roll on the other chart that you've got, some of those numbers will pertain to what I'm about to go over. The tax roll currently includes 58,698 real property parcels and 5,055 personal property accounts. 529 family residences were added to the tax roll, and we processed 3,075 homestead applications between January 1 and April 1 at the offices. That's my presentation today. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have, and thought you would find that information helpful that we submitted this year.
It is, appreciate it, Norman, but would you take maybe just a couple of minutes and explain real quick on the classes, what they cover, what they are?
Sure, and I've got a document I can print and hand to y'all, but Class 1 is all owner-occupied single-family residences, and you know, that's non-homestead and homestead.
And that is
As
one.
long as they're owner-occupied, that's Class 1 properties. Class 2 is all other real property, anything from vacant land to commercial properties, industries, and Class 1 has an assessment rate of 10%, which is set by the Department of Revenue, which is part of the tax formula, and Class 2 is assessed at 15%. Class 3 are public utilities, and they are assessed, Class 3 is personal property, I'm sorry, and they are assessed at 15%. Again, that rate's set by the Department of Revenue. Class 4 are public utilities, and public utility property, excluding railroad and airline property, can include substations, electrical stations, natural gas, telecommunications, things like that. They're assessed at 30%. And automobiles and mobile homes fall into Class 5 category, and the automobiles are assessed at 30%, mobile homes at 15%.
Okay, with a total of 3.5% growth.
Yes, sir.
Very good, solid growth as you indicated. So,
Norman, what was inflation this 24-25 year period?
I would have to research that.
Okay.
I do not know.
other questions to our tax assessor? Greg, if you would, have these put on the website, this information, you know, for the public.
Good job from the
Yes, sir.
tax assessor office.
Thank you.
Very good job, thank you,
All right.
Norman.
Thank you.
Okay, moving down to,
We need to make this motion?
yeah, we do.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
All right, yes, I'd like to make a motion to acknowledge receipt of real and personal property tax rolls for 2025 from Madison County, to adopt and enter the July order, to further authorize the equalization process to be conducted at each and every board meeting in the month of July 2025, conducted hereafter, to establish August 4th, 2025 as the date the board will entertain and consider objections to said rolls, set said dates as the deadline for the filing of written protest with the clerk, and advertise the same in the Madison County Journal for August 4th, 2025. Said rolls to be available for public inspection in the boardroom of the Chancery Administrative Building, to accept the assessor's affidavit of the personal roll and the assessor's affidavit of the real roll, as well as the draft recapitulation sheet. And I'll hand this to you when I'm
That is the motion from Supervisor Brannon. I'll second. Discussion.
Ronnie got it all wrote down. Thank you, read.
All in favor, say aye.
Well, I
Aye.
did.
All opposed.
Can he say it again?
Read it again.
Thank you, Supervisor Brannon.
Can you say it now without the paper?
Thank you for making the motion. Okay, we're gonna go down to item 68, approve voting precinct contract.
Yeah. Anthony's here.
All right, Andy.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Anthony Denton, Election Commissioner, District 4. This morning I come asking for a precinct change along with Supervisor Banks. We spoke about it. We want to change our Mount Levi precinct 416 to Liberty Baptist Church would turn to 416.
I'll make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks, do I have a second? I'll second it. And so you're gonna actually just move one, you're gonna close one and then open up?
Yeah, we're just moving right down the street. So yeah.
Okay, good deal. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Mr. Bryant, County Engineer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, first item I have is Chestnut Hill neighborhood, which is a private neighborhood, is in the process of requesting to turn over their streets to the county. They have a geotechnical engineer that they have employed to evaluate their streets, and I would like to also, for the county to hire a geotechnical engineer to do an independent evaluation of their streets before we begin the process to accept this. Those streets, if you go out there and look, they're in terrible shape, and there's more to evaluating a street than just looking at it. So we need a geotechnical engineer to do that.
Tim, is the gate
Where's
locked?
Chestnut Hill?
Chestnut Hill's at the corner of 463 and 22. It's right behind Livingston.
Tim, does that gate have an active code on it?
Yes, it's a private neighborhood right now, and it has a code you have to punch to get in.
They're gonna unlock it?
They would. If we were to work out something and the board were to accept those roads based on them bringing them up to county standards, which would be what this evaluation would tell us that they needed to do that, then yes, the gate would be unlocked. But we're in the very initial stages of this. What I'm requesting now is that the board allow me to negotiate a contract with Burns Cooley Dennis to evaluate those streets, to let me know what I need to tell them that they need to do in order for us to even consider taking those streets.
All right.
All right, do I have a motion?
Is there any question, also anybody looking at the slope of the hill coming in? Has that been defined, in any kind of way as being
Too steep?
too steep, permissible?
We'll look into that. You know, I think that slope is probably steeper than the county standards, so that would be something that the board would have to consider as well.
Yeah.
So I think the board's, our county standards doesn't allow anything above, it's either 6 or 7%, I can't remember which, but we'll look into that, and that recommendation or that criteria will be brought to the board as one of the things that we will have to consider.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move on the, what we need to find out.
Got a
before we
motion
go
Supervisor
behind.
Banks, do I have a second? Whose
Second.
district is it in, yours?
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Okay. And of course, I will bring back a contract with the value associated with it and bring that to you for approval. This is just a negotiated contract.
Right. Okay, thank you.
All right. Next item I have is a discussion of a road name. This will be for the section of road in between Highway 51 and Parkway East for the new road that we've just built, that we just opened, that is currently Reunion Parkway. Does the board wish for this to remain Reunion Parkway, or does this board wish for that to remain or to become Green Oak Lane? The reason this is that we're getting requests for 911 addresses, and 911 needs to know what the road name needs to be. So they are requesting to know what the road name is, and we've had some discussion back and forth, and we're requesting the board to give us an official road name for that section of road.
Any thoughts?
I'd like to keep it Reunion Parkway.
We agree on that. I don't want Green Oak to go over that other side of 55.
Well, Green Oak
51. It stopped
Yeah.
at 51. Then you jump over. It's a new road, right?
Reunion, and make it, because that's gonna be reunion all the way
Yeah.
through the boat.
Yeah, there's
All the way through
there's
to
precedent for it
463.
all over the county, where roads change names at intersections.
Or you use a different name. You ain't got to reuse Reunion. You ain't got to use Green Oak.
I think we've been using.
Mainly Carl Banks Boulevard.
Well, the bridge is actually called Reunion Crossing,
Yeah.
is what the bridge is called. And-
Bridge called that, you said?
But I will say this, and again, this is just throwing it out. I know with the recent ruling that the court made here, 3 weeks ago, you know, as far as the annexation area, you know, that would be within the city of Madison at that point. At this point, unless there's an appeal. And I'm just throwing this out, you know, hey, do you want the city to name it? Or does it really matter?
But they get ready, the address is getting ready to go over there now, though, right?
Yeah, according to Tim, they are, so.
Right, we've had at least one person is requesting an address.
Okay. We've got a motion on the table. Do we have a motion on the table to name the road?
I'll make a motion to, keep it Reunion Parkway.
Okay, got a
I'll
motion,
second that
got a
motion.
second, Supervisor Banks, discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed. All right, Reunion Parkway.
All right. Next item I have is the final plat for Woodgate Phase 1B. This is 35 lots on 17.11 acres. We do have the letter of credit for the final rating surface.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin, do I have a second?
I'll
Second, Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed.
Next item I have is a state aid program request for Joe Hall Road. This would be state aid project number LSBP 4524. This is for a bridge on Joe Hall Road.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks, I'll second, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed.
All right, next item I have is a request to work off of the right-of-way in Ashbrook subdivision. We have a pipe on Mason Way that is currently full of water, and we can't work on it. We need to lower Ashbrook Lake, and in order to fix that pipe, the HOA is willing to work with us. They know all about this. What we're requesting to do is work off a right-of-way to help lower the lake in order to fix the pipe, and then fix the pipe, and then the lake would go back to the level that it is. So we're requesting from the board to be able to work off a right-of-way in order to fix that pipe.
Motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Baxter, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Brandon, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed.
All right, next item is permission to subcontract on the Loring Road resurfacing project. This is with Dickerson and Bowen. They would subcontract with Simmons Erosion Control, Lane Line, and Road Pro Safety.
All right, do I have a motion? Motion, Supervisor Griffin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed.
All right, as part of our road resurfacing program for 2025, there are 3 roads that we are doing DBST work to. With those 3 roads, we need 89 stone to do the surface treatment for the DBST. We cannot find number 89 stone but at one location, that is Warren Paving out of Vicksburg. Wow. So we are requesting to use them as a sole source provider.
Move. Second.
Motion, Supervisor Banks, second, Supervisor Griffin, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed.
All right. All right, next item is a request for a time extension on the signal installation at Yandell Road in North Old Canton. A normal signal installation project has a environmental phase of about 6 months, or it is 6 months, and that is because a signal is typically has a very small footprint. It's usually within the limits of an existing intersection. Well, the intersection of North Old Canton and Yandell has 2 bridges within the limits and also a creek. So that was not taken into consideration with this. So it has taken the engineer a little longer to do that. They expect that year extension to really, they only need 3 months or so to do this, but you can't request 3 months, you have to request a year. So they're requesting a year to do this. So we request a year, and we request that the board president be authorized to sign this letter requesting that from the MPO.
Okay, do I have a motion? Motion Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, last two items I have are state aid program request. First one is state aid program request for Loring Road, from Stump Bridge Road to Highway 51. This is to DBST, the remaining portion of Loring Road.
Motion Supervisor Griffin, do I have a second? Second Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Next item I have is the request to resurface Pear Orchard Road from County Line Road to North Park Road, or North Park Drive, excuse me.
Move.
Motion by Supervisor Banks, I'll second, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, last item I have, which is not on here, is that as many, or as most everybody knows, we did hang beams on I-55 2 weeks ago. Had no problems, everything went very smoothly. We will be hanging beams again this week, starting Wednesday night on the southbound movement, or southbound I-55. Expect no problems, but there will be delays again this week. Starting Wednesday, will be Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and then Monday night of next week. So there will be delays again.
Project, opening of that section of the road still on target for the end of August?
Probably more like beginning of October. We've just had so much rain.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain all week too.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
You
So
go out there every night and watch them hang the beams?
I went out a couple of nights the previous time. Yes, sir.
And
Worked all day and all night.
And this is going southbound.
This is southbound, yes.
And it's from 11 o'clock till?
This is probably going to start at 11. Last time it started at midnight and worked until 6. This is probably going to start at 11 and work until 5.
All right, we need to make sure we get those times before we can send them out
We will.
on a website.
And the only reason I don't have that exactly is that the contractor is requesting to change the times, and it hasn't been approved by MDOT yet.
Okay.
But we will have that. But everybody worked seamlessly together, Department of Safety, MDOT, Highway Patrol,
Right.
Madison PD, everybody was great.
Okay,
So,
good deal. Thank you,
all right.
Tim.
Thank you.
Mr. Weeks?
A lot of cussing.
Morning.
Good morning.
First item I have are the draft minutes from the June 12th, 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting.
Move on the minutes.
Got a motion by Supervisor Banks to acknowledge the planning and zoning minutes. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Next item, I had an appeal filed on McMillan Road LLC rezoning by Timothy Anzenberger. We would like to set an appeal hearing date before the Board of Supervisors on August 4th, 2025.
Do I have a motion?
Move.
Motion Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Next item is Alicia Matthews. This was a conditional use for a child care facility, 4268 Highway 16 East, Supervisor District 5. They still have to submit a site plan before planning and zoning, and they will have to have health department approval. This was approved by P&Z on June 12, 2025.
Do I have a motion?
Exactly where is that at on 16? Can you tell me, Tim?
Which one?
I mean, Scott, I can't tell where it's at on 16. I know the address there, but it don't tell me anything.
I'm trying to recall off the top of my head exactly where it is. I think it's close to John Day Road, in that vicinity back between there and Lottville, if I'm not mistaken. back toward Farm Haven is from where John Day goes into 16. It's somewhere up in that proximity.
Why don't we hold this at, the next meeting?
All right, we got a motion Supervisor Griffin to table at the next meeting. I'll second. Discussion.
And, get the owner to contact me, so I know what I'm voting on. I don't know what I'm voting on here.
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed. Item 82.
Robert L. Lloyd, this was a conditional use for an RV park. It's on Berlilia Road. Supervisor District 4, approved by P&Z June 12, 2025.
Do I have a motion?
I move.
Motion Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed.
Next item is Todd Carter. This was a rezoning A1 to R1 located at Dave Brown Road, Supervisor District 5. This is part of a 15-lot subdivision. The next item will be associated with it, and they will have a 3,000 square foot minimum home size, approved by P&Z June 12, 2025.
Motion.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed.
Next item's Todd Carter. This was a special use 1 district to an R1 located at Gray Hill Road, Supervisor District 5, approved by P&Z June 12, 2025.
All right, motion.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed.
Next item, S&C Farms, conditional use for a mining operation located at Highway 51 North and Branscombe Road, Supervisor District 5, approved by P&Z June 12, 2025.
Do I have a motion?
I don't know if this is the time to add to it or not, but that Branson Road, is all owned by that one property owner. But Tim, Tim.
Jeff Cox is here also.
Jeff,
Yeah, I think this belongs to Jerry.
if that is, if we close that road, are we closing out any other property owner other than you?
I think there is one property owner that has access through there. I think his last name Barlow.
His last name what?
Barlow. That's gonna be the only one we need to double check.
Yeah, that's what I want Tim and Scott to do. Putting this off the next meeting, would it hurt you for us to find out?
The only thing it would help me do is get my permit process started through MDQ. But I mean, that's gonna be 6 or 8 months before we get it. Can I step up and just show you one thing?
Yeah, yeah.
This is an easement to his property right here, back to Branscombe Road. See the 2 narrow lines? So he actually has access. That is not us right here.
Well, 51 in here.
Highway 51, and this is Branscombe right there.
All right.
Now, I wouldn't be opposed to working out something with him with easement or something of that sort. You know, whatever would be easiest for you guys, it doesn't matter to me. We're gonna maintain the road anyway.
Jeff, is that, did you say Barlow?
I think it's Joe
Is that
Barlow,
Joe
but
Barlow?
I'm not sure.
Oh, that's on the backside, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
South of it. Yes, sir.
If let you, Scott and Tim work this out, and let's have it next meeting.
Okay.
Cause what he got 600 acres in there, both sides of that little dirt road. One house sit back there, and he owned that house too. So, and he finna make it into a big dirt pit. So why we want to maintain this dirt pit road? Now that's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take care of the road regardless of what happens, so that's not a problem with us. And, you know, if we get a 6 month, if it takes us 6 or 8 months to get a permit, the bridge is gonna be out. We're not gonna be able to haul much. You're gonna be in winter time.
That bridge gonna be
So,
out.
I mean, we're probably a year off from hauling dirt, so no, sir, it's not gonna kill us for months.
Okay.
And are we tabling or
Yeah.
what we doing?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that although he has access to Goodlow Road back there, doesn't he?
I think there's that ditch that runs up underneath where the bridge is being torn out, that I think cuts his access off from going south, from what I understand. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Scott, can you and Tim and Jeff put y'all heads together and have it where, you know, are we blocking that man in, or could Jeff give him a easement of what?
Yes, sir, I will.
All right, we have a motion to table at the next board meeting by Supervisor Griffith. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Last item, Bainbridge Phase 4 preliminary plat located on Yandle Road. It's 47 lots. They range in square footage from 12,000 to 20,000 square foot in that proximity.
12,000 square feet houses?
Lots.
Or lots?
Lots.
Okay. I was just, I'm not familiar with Bainbridge, and I didn't know if they were gonna build a bunch of mansions back there.
This will be on the north end of Bainbridge.
Yeah. They add on another portion, right?
Yes, correct.
Motion.
How many houses is
Second.
this?
Got a motion by Supervisor
20
Griffith,
what?
second from Supervisor
47
Banks.
lots, if I'm
47.
not mistaken.
Guys, y'all, hold up. Y'all listen. Got a motion Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks. Now discussion.
And this all dumps out on the Andale?
Yes.
They're already there, the subdivision is already there. It's,
I see, it's
South
phase
of-
4. It's phase 4.
north of, Deerfield.
Other discussion? And they are going from lot size from 14,000 to 20,000 square feet.
That's approximately the lot size.
And the square footage size of the home is approximately,
The square footage of that subdivision is a minimum of 1,600 from when it started.
right.
My understanding with the developers is they're gonna build between 1,750 and 1,900 square foot homes.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
That's all I have.
All right. Good. Thank you, Scott. Minor?
Good morning, Supervisors.
Good morning.
Well, it's Christmas in July for two fire departments, Southwest and Farmhaven. We're replacing a 29-year-old truck in Farmhaven and a 26-year-old truck in Southwest, which both of them didn't pass the certification last year when we did it. And 2 Fridays ago, Ebony Robichaud and I drove to Hammond and inspected the trucks. So all they had to do is get them up here in one piece without damage, and they're outside right now. And Ebony approved it. She checked everything back off, and I just want y'all to know the 2 trucks we ordered several years ago before this one, it took almost 2 years for us to receive them once we placed the order. Once we placed the order on this one, these 2 trucks and gave them the go-ahead and build, it took them 2 months to get us these 2 trucks. And that was from U.S. Fire Pump and Apparatus. And we, Stevie Stiles is here from them. Him and 2 other guys brought the trucks up. So,
How'd they get built so quickly?
he can answer that. Well, one thing they have, a lot of companies, when you order the truck, they don't order the chassis until you place the order for the truck. Then they have to wait for the manufacturer for the chassis to come in if they're a commercial truck, like a Kenworth or International. They have them in stock. So once we ordered it, they had the trucks in stock we wanted, and they had an open in a slot, and they put our trucks in to get them pushed out real quick.
Okay.
So they did an outstanding job, and it's top notch.
Yes.
So, and they were checked off. They were, everything like we ordered was approved and signed by the receiving clerk. And I just need y'all to accept the delivery and approve payment for the 2 fire trucks.
When will the delivery be to the, fire station?
Probably about a week or less.
I mean, we're holding them for any reason?
Yeah, we gotta get all the equipment put on there and
Okay,
inventory it and make sure everything is marked and signed.
okay. Good
So
deal.
it's gonna take us at least a couple of days, so.
Yeah, right. So you need a motion, to accept for delivery?
Just accept the delivery and approve payment of the 2 trucks.
Yeah, I forgot about the payment, so I guess we need to approve that. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
For that call, second Supervisor Brandon, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
I
Thank
got
you,
a
Ma'am.
question, you know. Those old trucks, you got planned with the old trucks? Reason I ask is, the road department water truck is out. Is there any way that you can get convenience, can y'all modify that truck and turn it into a water truck?
Usually, with these trucks hold 1,250 gallons on the trucks we're getting rid of. Usually water trucks like they have for the road departments, they're like 2,000 gallons or a little more, 2,500.
Check with it. Check with it.
Okay, they could be I do have a truck if he wants a truck like that. These 2 trucks are still okay for fire use, and I do have 2 departments who are wanting us to donate them to, but I haven't got a letter from them yet. But I do have another truck that the road department can use.
Okay, if another fire department can use them, hey, I'd rather see the fire than out there wetting the ground for dust.
Right.
But if you got an old truck, talk to them, see can they modify it to make it into a water truck.
Yeah, Madison County, we're really blessed because most of our payment we apply toward the fire trucks comes from our fire rebate. We get back from the insurance, from the state. So we pay a little out of our pocket for these, and usually that's for a matching grant. And we did receive $160,000 for matching grants on these 2 trucks too, combined, $160,000.
Okay.
Mine also, I know you and I talked here maybe a month ago with these coming in. I think it's the fire station in Benton or Bentonia.
Bentonia,
that
yes.
burned completely and they lost their fire truck. I know they
Right.
reached out.
They're one of the departments. Once I get everything transferred out of the old trucks on these trucks, I'll have them write a letter requesting a donation from the county.
Gotcha. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Espy?
Did y'all vote on this, Mr. Perry?
No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you, Mr. Lott.
Chairman, nothing right now. I do have items for executive session.
Here's an item for executive session.
You do, okay. Mr. Hickenbottom, County Administrator. Good morning.
Good morning. Again, third or fourth time up here. This time's going to be very, very brief. Item 88 is more for the folks watching than for you all, but in 5 minutes, we will be sending out another cybersecurity training video. And in the event it is not completed within 2 weeks, we will be restricting folks' internet access. So the folks that are watching this meeting, when they get the email at 11 o'clock-ish, it is in fact a legitimate email and your participation is expected. And if you don't believe I'm serious, there are plenty of elected officials around here that'll tell you I cut off their internet access last time we did this until the video was completed. So, the video that you will be receiving in 5 minutes is in fact a legitimate email, and I would encourage everyone to click on it, watch the video, play the game. It takes like 10 minutes. It's not anything too serious.
And Greg, I also want to bring up at this point, I know you and I talked probably 3 weeks ago, a month ago, you gave me a quick update how the training is actually working.
Oh, yes.
That we have actually caught some things that could have gone through very easily in Costa County, but due to this training that you, Mr. Lott, and others have been working on and the board approved, has already come into play in a positive way.
Oh, absolutely. And you are correct. It's been a team effort across multiple departments. This this board, Mr. Lott, IT, everybody and their brother has had a hand in this at some point. But the numbers don't really lie. When we first started this, we were very, very, very prone to phishing attacks, and the last training we did, I think we were down to some amount under 20%. It was, if I'm not mistaken, under 10, but I don't want to lie to you. Before that, it was over half. So we have seen significant strides in that arena.
Good deal. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, not a lot of board action there. I just wanted to make sure the folks that were listening knew that it's legit and the link should be clicked. But item 89 is a request for board action. I am requesting this board award the bid to Anding Construction in the amount of $450,255.50 for some work to be done with the West Madison Utility District in regards to their sanitary sewer system, specifically around the Compress Street area.
I'll move.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks. Any second? I'll second. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, and item 90 is a request that this board acknowledge our proportionate share and the breakout of the courthouse grounds repair bill. That is to get the grounds back up to where they were after this board put, I believe it was about 50 grand into those grounds in 21. This is to get it back to that state prior to construction beginning on the roof. The idea is to get the grounds up to par so that when they finish with the roof, they have to put the grounds back the way they found them, which in this case would be pristine.
Okay, I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All righty, and that should do it for me, but Mr. President, I do believe Mr. Jones has an agenda item that may have been skipped.
Who?
Albert Jones.
Yeah.
And
Did we skip Albert?
Yeah, skip that.
Where's Albert?
He's not here, but it's,
he's outside.
Oh, he's here. Okay.
He's just got a sole source declaration for tornado sirens.
Yeah.
And one other little thing, but he's here to talk
There
to
he
you.
is.
I don't see him on my agenda, but we see him in person.
Oh, it was
69?
item 69.
May need to refresh. He was the last second edition on this one. That's my fault.
Oh, okay. Mr. Jones, you in front of us.
Yes,
so
sir. Good morning.
That's better.
All right. I'm gonna ask y'all first to approve it. It's a repair bill for the sirens. And once we do approve them, if y'all do approve them, I'm actually in the process of trying to find something better to lower the cost, because we actually paying more in the repairs than we are for the contract. But I'm in the process of looking. I spoke with the administrator about it. So we kind of just doing our homework, trying to lower the cost.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to
Motion
repair.
Supervisor Banks, I'll second for further discussion. Which area is this?
They all around, so they took,
it's
it's
all of it
all
in
around.
general.
It's not all of them, but it's all around.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good deal. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
And just an update, the generator that we purchased to protect our 911 equipment at Canton PD, it's there. I'm finna leave now. The guy that's finna do the switch over, sheriff, I did call the dispatch. So all the calls gonna be routed to the sheriff's department for at least about 30 minutes, and then they gonna put everything back to normal.
Okay.
So it's fixed and done.
Good update.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Albert. Next is our comptroller, Nassan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Item number 91 is approval of the budget amendments and to interfund cash transfers.
I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
The next 4 items is general claims docket and 3 payroll dockets.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second? Second, Supervisor Brandon. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Nassan.
I have
No, no, you
Item
missed-
96.
You missed it.
Banks.
You missed it.
Paying for the gas and lease.
Yeah, we gotta pay for this gas. So just using that, I don't use the county gas. But, anyway, item number 97.
Yes, sir, that's the fleet corps claim docket.
Okay, let's pay for the gas for those that use county gas.
Motion.
second?
I'll second.
You don't use county gas either. All in favor? Aye.
Just the fire trucks, the sheriff department.
Oh, the sheriff department, I definitely wanna make sure the sheriff don't run out of gas. Like the company trying to help me. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They shooting over
Hey,
there.
Mr. Lott?
State.
Nothing, Mr.
Well, wait, I got,
Thank you.
I about to ran out of gas.
Sheriff Tucker?
If we could just acknowledge the inmate meal log for the month of June 2025 for your minutes, please.
I got a motion to acknowledge. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second Supervisor Banks. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Thank you.
opposed? Thank you, Sheriff. Old business? New business? Do I have a motion to go into closed termination?
I
Motion to
make
be
that
for-
motion to go in close termination.
Oh, I just gonna say, we
Got
got
a, got a motion for Mr. Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion,
Litigation.
all in favor, say aye. Aye, all
Litigation.
opposed.
You turn that off.
Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Yeah, I move.
Motion Supervisor Banks,
Litigation only?
Litigation.
you gonna second? Second Supervisor Brandon, discussion,
Yes,
all in
sir.
favor, say aye.
Who
Aye.
made the
What
motion?
you got, Hal?
Mr. Banks and Supervisor Brandon.
Oh, thank you.
Terrible.
Just go on down there and have fun. I told the sister, I said, y'all need to get a job.
All right, we back out of the executive session, Mr. Lott.
The Madison County Board of Supervisors authorized the board attorney to file suit to condemn and quick take parcel number 003-00-00-W on the Yandle Road project during executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Lott.
Can
Do I-
trade this.
Do I have a motion to adjourn to July the 21st at 9 a.m.?
Motion.
Motion Supervisor Brandon, now
Second that
second
motion.
Supervisor Banks, discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed.
I just ain't never been able to figure out where